Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Alexa Rose. Today's video, we did our current base makeup
Routine.
We did it in sections to where I did my makeup first and then Taylor did her makeup second. Since I have more oily skin and she has more dry skin, we wanted to film it in sections so that you guys have a chance to look at both different skin types not at the same time so you don't get confused.
Yeah, so let us know down below if you like that style that we're trying out, just so you get a little bit of a closer look and more in-depth look at what each of us are doing. And we really have been loving these steps that we've been taking to do our face makeup like this every single time we do our makeup, so please keep watching.
Although far away, I'm living my dream. I'll be home in a couple of days.
So my first step is going to be primer, and for primer I use the Dr. Brandt Pores No More primer. Give it a nice shake. I only put a little bit because I don't want too much. About a pea-size amount. And you're gonna rub it together, warm it up, and then I'm gonna put it in my problematic areas, which are my T-zone and my cheeks. You want to make sure you're not smearing it. You want to do patting motions to really let it sink into the skin. So while I let the primer sink into my skin, I'm going to go wet my beauty blender. Before I use my foundation, I take my Urban Decay All-Nighter setting spray, give it a little shake, and I like to spray it all over my face before I put foundation on. I feel like setting my face before foundation really helps it stay all night. So before I go and put my foundation on, I'm going to spray my beauty blender after I dampened it with water, and I'm just going to spray it with my setting spray. So for my foundation today, I'm going to be using the Dior Forever foundation. I have this sample right now because I'm waiting for my color to go back in stock. I am in the shade number 14. Now since I have the sample, I'm just going to dip my finger into the sample box and just dot it all over my face. Okay, I'm going to take my beauty blender. I'm just going to pounce. So I really love this foundation because it literally stays on my face all day long. Now with my oily skin, it's so hard to find a good foundation that's really going to last me all night. And it was actually funny because when I first discovered this foundation, I actually was getting my makeup done at Sephora, and I told them about my skin and how I am acne prone and have oily skin. The makeup artist at Sephora who is helping me was saying, oh, you know, you should try the Dior Forever foundation. And so she color matched me and she put it on my skin, and the entire night I was blown away by how amazing my face looked. And the coverage is pretty good. I'm gonna have to go in with the second layer. So now I'm going to go in with another layer in certain areas where I needed a little bit more. I knew I was going to love this foundation because I remember watching Jaclyn Hill's video on it, and she swears by this foundation. And when I heard her talking about it, I was like, I need this. So I was really excited when the makeup artist at Sephora mentioned it. Make sure you blend down to your neck. So now that my foundation is fully blended in, I'm going to take my concealer. I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Fair Neutral. So I'm going to take the concealer and I'm going to dot it underneath my eyes, and then I'm going to highlight the rest of my face with it. And then once again, I'm going to take my setting spray and I'm spray my beauty blender. And I'm going to take the concealer and I'm going to drag it over my eyes to set my eyelids. I also take the concealer down the sides of my nose to snatch my nose. And also when you're applying your concealer, especially if you're highlighting, you want to make sure that you drag it all the way to your hairline to give your eyes a more uplifted look. So now that my concealer is all blended out, I'm going to be taking my all-time favorite setting powder, my Mercier Translucent setting powder. Honestly, I don't know what I would do without this powder. It literally makes my foundation stay on all night. It's just so good. I'm going to be setting wherever I put my concealer, but also for the rest of my face. Like, this might look a little scary, but trust me, you gotta do it. Now I'm gonna let this sit for a little while. Not too long, I would say maybe a minute, just to let it soak into my skin. And then once again, I'm going to take my setting spray and I'm going to spray my beauty blender. And then I'm going to take my beauty blender, I'm going to press that powder into the skin. I feel like it's important to press the powder into the skin with the beauty blender because it really just helps the powder really melt into your foundation. And it gives you such a flawless finish. Once that powder is fully melted into the skin, I take my setting spray and I spray my whole face. So now that I have my powder on, I'm going to start bronzing and contouring my face with the Butter Bronzer by Physicians formula. I love this bronzer and it smells like paradise, like coconuts, and I love that smell. And it's the perfect shade though for contouring or bronzing. So now I'm going to be taking the Morphe M530 brush and I'm going to dip it into the powder. And I'm going to start from the top of the ear, probably towards the end of my eye, and I'm going to start contouring and bronzing. I always suggest when doing bronzing or contouring to start off with a light hand no matter what powder it is, because then you can always build it up after. Make sure you get the jawline. Since I have a bigger forehead, what I like to do is I like to bring the bronzer a little bit closer to the middle of my forehead, so it makes the illusion that my forehead isn't that big. My favorite blush at the moment right now is by Tarte. It's Paaaarty. It's a really pretty neutral pink color, and it's not too overpowering. So now I'm going to be taking the Morphe M437 for my blush. I'm going to dip it in, tap off the excess, and I'm going to put it right on the apples of my cheeks. So lastly, for my base makeup, I am going to be using a highlighter. And the thing with me with highlighters, I don't like to highlight my entire face. I only like to highlight on my cheekbones just because when I do get oily throughout the day, it gives the illusion that I have highlighter on, and I don't want to put highlighter on my oily spots and then it's not a cute look. It's not. So I only like to put it on my cheekbones and in my inner corner and then underneath my brows. So for highlighter, I'm going to be using Becca Champagne Pop. I love this color. It looks a little peachy, but when you put it on, Oh, that's a lot. Girl, this is way too much. You gotta tap that excess off, girl. Girl. Okay, so for my highlighting brush, I'm going to be using the Morphe M510. Tap off the excess, because girl, that's a lot. And then I'm gonna put it in the highest points of my cheek. Woo! And I really like this highlighter because it doesn't emphasize my acne that I have, which is a good thing. And I don't like to bring it too close to the center of my face because then, again, since I do get really oily, it's not gonna look cute. Lastly, for my base makeup, I'm going to be, once again, taking my beauty blender and my setting spray, give it a nice bath, and I'm going to take my beauty blender and press it into my skin just to melt everything that we have on my face for a nice seamless look. Okay, so that is it for my base makeup. And normally what I would do after I do my eyes, and once again, I will take my setting spray and spray my face again. And then normally I'll get dressed, spray again, and then right before I leave to go out, I will spray again. I feel like this setting spray is the key for my oily skin, and it really does save my foundation, and it keeps it on all night long. You need this. Girl, if you're oily like me, you need it. Bottom line.
So this is my base routine for having dry skin, and what I learned is for having dry skin, it's really about the preparation and kind of the steps you do before your makeup. So stuff that I've been loving right now is using this eye cream by Dermadoctor, Wrinkle Revenge, and it just really helps with fine lines and just hydrates the area underneath your eye. And then for all over my face where I don't use the eye cream, I use the Tatcha water cream, and I could really feel this absorbing into my skin and working. So I've been loving these to kind of prep for my makeup. And for primer, I've been loving the Smashbox primerizer. It's half primer, half moisturizer, so it really just gives that extra nutrients your skin needs. You just shake this, and I'll put about 2 or 3 pumps on. And you just pat it into your skin. Okay, so it's important to kind of let that sink in, make sure your skin is really getting the hydration. And now for foundation, I'm going to use this Nars Radiant foundation. This one has been my favorite. The only thing is I do have a little bit of a fake tan left, so this will be a little light, so I'm going to mix in a little bit of the IT Cosmetics CC cream in the color Light. This says it's light. It is so dark, and it looks exactly like the medium, so I don't know if I got like a mislabeled one or their colors are just so off, but this will give me a little bit of a darker complexion, so I like mixing this to kind of match me. So I'm going to pump a couple drops on my hand and then take my beauty blender and bounce it in my skin. And this one is really true to its name and radiant, so that's why I love it for my skin type, because it kind of gives you that dewy look or natural skin like look without being like a scaly alligator. Okay, and I didn't forget, so now I'm going to take a couple of drops of the darker CC cream and just kind of mesh that together. And this does look a little shiny right now, but after the powder and everything, it just kind of looks really natural and healthy. Okay, so now that my foundations are all blended together, it's time for concealer. I'm really bougie and I like all like name brand stuff, but I have to tell you, I watched like every Jeffree Star video that he used this, and I was like, okay, I need to try it for myself. It's $6.50 at Ulta, Makeup Revolution. This blows Tarte Shape Tape out of the water. It's like a mix of the Tarte Shape Tape and the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer, which is literally the best of both worlds. Especially for my skin, it is so hydrating and it looks flawless. The fine lines, you can't see them. The dark circles, you can't see them. It is the most full coverage concealer I've ever used, and for $6.50, you literally cannot beat it. My under eyes are probably one of the driest areas on my face. I actually spray my damp beauty blender with some Tatcha Dewy Skin Mist just for that little extraness. Okay, so now I'm just going to go right under my eyes with this. And you see that shine under there now? I love this, and it is the most comfortable wearing concealer because it is very hydrating. Okay, and now to set that, I'm going to take my Kat Von D Lock-It Translucent Setting Powder and just set under my eyes using the Shade and Light contour brush. So I'm just going to pour some in the lid. So we're going to just tap that in and press underneath the eye. And make sure you blend out any creases before you do this. And I kind of just take the rest and set my forehead. Okay, and because I want to keep some of the luminosity and skin like finish to the rest of my face, I'm not going to use my loose setting powder all over. I'm actually going to take my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. And I have the color 2. This one is the light one, but it's not the translucent. Honestly, I think I should have got the one, but now it's okay because I have a little bit of a tan. I'm just going to take this and set the rest of the places that I didn't put the concealer. I'm going to be using a Morphe 106 brush to do so. Okay, so I'm going to continue baking and start with my contouring. I don't necessarily contour, more or less bronze. And it really is important to go with a light hand because it is so easy to go over the top with this. So for this, I've really been loving the Tarte Park Avenue Princess contour palette. The smell of this is just absolutely to die for, and the colors actually are really good for my skin tone. So I dip into the color Princess Cut with my Morphe 105 brush and just kind of really lightly trace over my cheekbones. And I bring it up to the temples and along the forehead. So next is blush. Recently this has become my favorite part of makeup. Honestly, sometimes I'll just put that It Cosmetics CC cream on and blush and mascara and call it a day. This is the new Patrick Starrr MAC collab. This is the I'm Not Blushing blush duo. It's from the Me So Chic collection. And I kind of just mix them both together and take this big fluffy Bare Minerals brush. I don't have the name on it anymore, it's kind of old, but I kind of just put this in the apple of my cheeks and blend back towards my contour. Okay, now it's time to wipe away that bake. Okay, so I'm just going to go back in with the same brush I used for the Charlotte Tilbury setting powder and dust away my bake. Alright, so this part is always so scary for me. I don't know if you could see, but this is when you see how really dry my skin is. No matter all the hydrating stuff we used beforehand and, you know, that concealer we use, I still get so patchy wherever there's powder. But what I learned is that's okay. As long as you drench your face in setting spray, that all kind of just goes away. What I like to do is take my Too Faced Hangover RX setting spray and get my face really, really wet with this. If I go back in like how I used to do and bounce it in, my skin gets so patchy and the foundation peels and all that stuff. The best thing for me to do is kind of take a fan or a big palette like this and make sure my face dries this way. Okay, and to highlight, I'm going to be taking my Morphe M200 brush and dipping it into this gold shade. I like to do the high point of my cheek, under the brow, on the temple, on the bridge of my nose. Now we're going to take our setting spray one more time and we're going to set that bitch. Okay guys, so off camera we completed our like just a really natural eye look. We put some mascara, cleaned up the brows and stuff like that. It's actually been about 3 or 4 hours since we first sat down to film the video. We went and got something to eat. We came back. So this just proves that the way we've been doing our makeup really works for us, and it lasts a really long time.
Yeah, I really love how my foundation stayed on really good, and I feel like the foundation, the setting powder, and the setting spray really melted really well together to have a to have my makeup last all night. The combination just works really well.
Yeah, that's why we love setting spray and setting powder so much. It's like, it really is a security blanket for your makeup. So we hope you guys like this new style of video we were working out. And if you have any questions, please leave them below. We would like you to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye. Guys.